What's happening, forum? I'm Alec. As somebody who has consumed a lot of YouTube in his days, I've had a lot of different favorite YouTube channels over the years, like I'm sure a lot of you have had as well. And amongst the various reasons why they'd be my favorite channel, it usually boils down to the person behind the channel. And when you enjoy a person's content so much that you practically go out of your way to watch every single video that they make, you're going to want the best for them in their life. With this parasocial relationships we have going on this platform, and with the rise in fame that us as fans are able to give these YouTubers, that usually culminates in a couple of different things. One of them being the YouTuber getting a movie or TV show. And just between us, I think we can all agree that those YouTuber movies or TV shows, they either range from to downright fucking terrible, literally unwatchable. Please do not make me watch them, because watching them is a form of torture in some countries. I think it's not that hard for most of us fans to understand that the reason why these YouTubers want to jump to more traditional media like movies and television is because that avenue will help them become bigger stars than they can be than just on regular old YouTube. But as we've come to understand, most of the time, that shit doesn't work. Or sometimes, I will point this out and admit that there are some YouTubers that do this just as a fun creative project, or they do it to work with somebody that they look up to in the industry. I ain't knocking the hustle on that part, I'm just saying. And one of these YouTubers who tried to make the jump to more traditional media like I've been talking about was none other than one of the previously #1 most subscribed YouTubers of all time, Ray William Johnson.
Doing your mom, doing your mom. You know we straight with doing your mom.
Now, I'm just gonna guess that if you are somehow watching this video about Ray William Johnson, you have some semblance on who the guy is. But on the off chance that you don't, here's a quick little summary in order to catch you up. Ray William Johnson was a YouTuber who made a show called =3 back in early 2009. And on =3, he would pick 3 videos that were going viral at the time and just make fun of them. Pretty simple premise, but you know, it worked at the time.
That makes me so angry! I just want to take a baby who happens to be black and throw it! But I digress.
His channel was once the #1 most subscribed channel on YouTube. It was the first YouTube channel that was able to garner over 5 million subscribers. And also, he had the #1 most subscribed music channel on YouTube with his virtual band, Your Favorite Martian. Which is kind of wild to think about, you know, with like Beyonce or like Katy Perry probably having a presence on YouTube at the time. No, they don't hold a candle to this fucking ugly animated YouTube band. But I'll admit, there were some bangers. But unfortunately, all things must come to an end, and Ray decided to step down from hosting =3 in March of 2014. And this all following after he went independent once again and created his own studio after his fallout with Maker Studios in late 2012. So after looking at all of his accomplishments, you can't really deny that Ray was a trailblazer in the world of YouTube. So it kind of makes sense that one of the most popular people on the platform would try their hand at jumping to more traditional media. Which is why following his departure from hosting =3, Ray starred in a little indie film called Who's Driving Doug, starring Breaking Bad's RJ Mitte and Bates Motel's Paloma Kwiatkowski. Now, I've watched some YouTube videos that have been out there about like the rise and fall of Ray, and each one of them usually like mentions this movie, but I've never seen a video that talks like exclusively about this movie, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity, and that's why I'm going to seize that opportunity and do it myself, because I bet there's at least a few people out there that are just a little bit curious about what this movie was about, like I was. So let's talk about it. Who's Driving Doug is a 2016 coming-of-age film directed by David Conley and written by Michael Carnick. It's about a guy named Doug who has muscular dystrophy and is kind of just living a very stagnant life. He kind of just goes to school and then back home and then back to school and then back home. Like, I don't even know if this guy has something to look forward to in his life. Like, I don't know, a fucking TV show to watch, like I do right now with Survivor. Huh. I mean, come on, I'd do anything Jeff Probst tells me. If he tells me to come on in, guys, you better bet I'm fucking running. Now, some quick background information that I thought was interesting before we get into the movie is that Michael Carnick, the writer for the movie, also has muscular dystrophy, and the movie is based loosely on his life. The script for the movie that he wrote won a Goldwyn Writing Award, which, you know, was pretty good. And when they were making the film, the filmmakers behind the movie wanted to give a voice to people with disabilities and actually actively sought out people with disabilities to work on the film, which I thought was very cool. But I do want to say this. I've been wanting to watch this movie for years. Not because I specifically wanted to make a video about it like I'm doing doing now, but because, I mean, you know, if we're being honest with each other, I used to be a huge fan of Ray's back in the day. I watched every single video this guy uploaded. I'm talking about every single episode of Equals 3, every single Breaking NYC and Breaking LA vlog that he put out. I'm talking about all the Your Favorite Martian songs on repeat. I even bought the Your Favorite Martian songs on iTunes and had them on my iPod Nano. This exact fucking one. I was unapologetically a huge fan of Ray's. So when I heard Ray was going to be in a movie back in the day, I just knew I had to watch it. And then fast forward like 8 years or so, I finally got around to buying a copy and watching it. And how is the movie, I hear you ask? Well, let's get into it. So the movie starts off with us seeing our two main characters, Doug and Scott, for the first time. Doug is a guy who's wheelchair bound because he has muscular dystrophy. And we also see Scott, who's kind of just like a regular guy, but you get the vibe just by looking at him that he hasn't done much with his life. I mean, he's smoking a cigarette. In this day and age, bro, not cool. So Doug has to be driven to school every single day by a driver. And in his creative writing class, one of his classmates is presenting one of her stories that she's written. And you know, it's, okay, I'll be honest, it sounds like shit.
I was afraid that you would reject me like all the others do. Then Lily and Jim hug each other and never let go.
That was good.
But then we see Doug over here and he starts fucking calling her out.
God, that fucking sucked.
I'm just like, God damn, Doug, you go off, brother.
What do you know about love, you pretentious moron? God, it just makes you wanna like, oh!
And he talks such mad shit that everybody stands up and claps for Doug. And even Obama's there. Doug, you're a hero for speaking your... Oh, no, that was just a daydream. Okay, that makes more sense.
Everything was said.
After Doug chickens out, the professor gives out the final project of the class, and it's just a one-sentence thing, but they hand it out on pieces of paper. Like, was that really necessary? Can they just, like, put it up on the board or something? But no, they need to have it for a shot in the movie. I get it. So once Doug's done for the day and he's driven back home, his driver informs him that she's quitting being his driver. And honestly, probably for the best, Doug. I mean, you see the shit that she was doing? She'd probably get you killed. So Doug then goes to sulk in his room. I'm so miserable and the world is so depressing. Ah, the light! And then we're introduced to Doug's mom, who is very much like a helicopter parent. And in this scene, we also slowly learn that Doug's dad is out of the picture because he unfortunately passed away.
And what's the matter? You seem pooped.
But moving on to the main guy I want to talk about. Oh my god, it's Ray William Johnson. So we, the audience, see that Scott, Ray William Johnson's character, is in some emotional turmoil. He's calling up the person that he misses, and he's all like, I miss you, baby. And the person on the other line is just like... So the next day, Doug puts up a help wanted poster to try and get a new driver. And we see Scott grab the flyer on his way into the school. And on his way inside, Scott sees Doug for the first time. And they have their first interaction together. Oh, it must be so sweet.
Oh,
Thank you.
slow it down, Turbo.
Well then. The reason why Scott is at the school is because he's trying to enroll there, but he's turned away by the dean of students, so Scott leaves in a big ol' huff from his office. But on his way out, he sees Doug rolling up to his driver, and Scott walks up to him and says, hey, I'll be your new driver if you want.
You're Doug? Scott. Scott Lane. I can start as early as tomorrow.
Well, if your driving record checks out.
Great. I'll call you. Sorry.
But we go to the next day, and Scott is already Doug's driver. Okay. Dope. And the two of them on the way to school get to know each other a little bit.
I was in a play once in high school, and they made us dance to Charleston.
And as they get to know each other, Scott reveals to Doug that he's from Las Vegas. And Doug perks up his ears and being all like, oh my god, I've always wanted to go to Las Vegas. My dead dad told me he was going to take me there one day.
Is it cool?
Yeah.
So after Scott drops Doug off at school for the day,
Have a good day at school, Sugar Plum.
Scott gets a call from somebody on his phone.
I have to be there. I don't care. I'm coming.
Who is he talking to? Where does he need to go to? Why? Who? Huh? Meanwhile, in class, Doug and us are subjected to this super cool guy's monologue.
And this is how you repay me? By fucking my girl? Said Martin. I'll show you trust, replied Michael, angrily. Then Michael picked up a hammer and beat Martin's skull in until it was a bloody mess on the floor.
I'm the teacher right now. I'm like, God, okay. We get one of these guys every single fucking semester in this class, and I'm always never prepared. All right, please sit down, Bradley. Oh, your name isn't Bradley? Well, you look like a Bradley. You look like Bradley Upper Crust III from an extremely goofy movie. Get the fuck in your seat. Don't clap for his ass. So after class, Doug and his friend Stephanie, who I've kind of failed to talk about so far, but you know, like, this is Stephanie, she's Doug's friend, they study together, yada yada yada. She has like a boyfriend that's a professor at the school, but I'm not gonna focus on that part too much. Just know that that's going on in the background with her character.
If you're not doing anything after, you wanna practice some French kissing?
What?
So the two of them are going home for the day, and Scott approaches Doug saying, hey man, I gotta bounce for a little while back home to Vegas. I got like a family thing going on. But Scott is like, I don't have a car, so I'm gonna need to borrow your car for a little bit. So he poses to Doug this scenario.
So, remember how you were saying that you want to go to Vegas? I could drive you there.
I don't know.
Oh, come on, Doug. You're always talking about Vegas.
Doug's always talking about Vegas. He's just like, you know, in Vegas, there's Elvis impersonators, and I think I could be one. I'll think of very much.
I know you don't know me, but please, this would really help me out.
And I'll go with you.
I'm sorry. Who asked you? So Doug tells Scott that he's gonna have to think about it for a bit, and then Doug goes back home for the night. And then there's like this weird scene where Doug and his mom talk to each other by looking at each other through the mirror.
Dad would let me go.
No, your father would not allow you to run off to Las Vegas with a total stranger. It's settled. We'll be having chicken again tonight.
I don't want chicken, Mom! So like immediately after that conversation with his mom, Doug calls up Scott and is just like, Scott, you better pack your bags, brother, because we're going to Vegas, baby! Woo!
Stephanie's gonna be thrilled.
So the scene immediately after Doug calls up Scott, there's a scene with Doug's mom where she's at the dinner table and she's talking to somebody, and she starts it off by saying this.
You fucking bastard. You said you wouldn't leave me. I should flush you down the toilet.
Who the fuck are you talking to? My first instinct was like, obviously, she's probably talking to Doug. I'm just like, you're gonna flush him down the toilet? Oh my god! But then we see that she's talking to an urn, like the dead dad's urn. I'm just like, oh, this makes more sense. I was scared for Doug there for a second. I thought this was going to turn into a horror movie real quick. What are you planning to do to him, Doug's mom? Mother knows best. And if the child tries to say otherwise, I'll flush you down the toilet. Rated R Sharks Friday. But anyways, it's time for Scott, Doug, and Stephanie to hit the road to Vegas. And while Scott and Doug get to know each other a little bit, Stephanie, on the other hand, she like immediately checks out. I'm not talking to these guys. I'm putting my earbuds in and jamming out to some Coldplay. Life is hard, gets so heavy, butterflies.
What are you guys talking about?
Manly things. Beards and chainsaws and penises and such.
So after driving for a while, the three of them stop at a diner for some food, and we get treated to one of the more awkward scenes of the movie.
Hey guys, what can I get you?
I'll get the number 3, please.
On the big Texas burger?
What can I get for him?
I don't know. Ethel, why don't you ask him?
Can I get number 1 with extra bacon?
Number 1, no bacon.
Can I get extra bacon?
Right. Number 1, no bacon.
He wants extra bacon.
Ethel, open your goddamn ears. He so clearly says extra bacon. And it's just such an awkward, long scene. But I get why they put it in. The guy who wrote the film, Michael Carnick, he said that this scene actually happened to him, like word for word in real life. And this shows like what him and other people like him have to go through on a daily basis. And they want to get that on film. So like, I get that part. But it's just, I don't know, it just wasn't executed the best.
Must get annoying, huh?
It happens all the time.
So when they get their food, Scott helps Doug out by cutting up his food for him. But at the same time, Doug says this.
I don't need your help. I just want to be treated like everyone else.
And Scott rebuttals by saying this.
No, you don't. You love being treated special.
That's an important line. Remember it. It'll come back later. However, before the scene, Stephanie just fucking ups and leaves the scene. And it just really goes to show you how much the filmmakers cared about this character. Like, I'm telling you, practically before every single important scene in this movie, they literally, like, make her go away or do something else. Like, we really don't need Stephanie here. Have her take a phone call. She stays at the hotel. She's listening to her iPod. Okay, cool. Problem solved.
What did I miss?
A lot, Stephanie. So after they resume driving to Las Vegas, Scott pulls out his phone and watches a video that he has saved on there, which is like surprisingly great quality for a fucking flip phone. We see Scott beckoning over to a friend of his who I presume is the person that he's been talking to on the phone, saying like, hey, come over here, let's get a picture by this dilapidated sign. And I'm just like, what a cute little couple they must be. I wonder who's the lucky lady.
See that sign over there? My friend and I stayed out all night once by that sign, just waiting for a ride.
Oh, that's just suck.
Actually, it's one of the best nights of my life.
That's cute. Anyway, so the three of them finally make it to Vegas and they're taking in all the sights. The hotels, the neon lights, the blatant product placements.
This is crazy.
The three of them then go to the shady motel that they're staying at for the weekend, and Scott and Doug get ready for a night on the town together. And by getting ready, I mean they both get berated on the phone. Doug by his mom, and Scott by this mysterious person that he came all the way here to see.
What's that stain on the bed?
Don't worry. It doesn't look like blood.
It looks like semen.
Stephanie then shows up to the room, and the three of them head out to a bar together. And, oh look, it's about halfway through the movie. Guess it's time for the climax. And the climax is pretty much we learn, oh, Doug has a little bit of a crush on Stephanie. But Stephanie's dancing with Scott. And you're probably thinking like, oh, this is probably the part where they have like a big falling out together as friends. Nope, not yet. You know what actually happens? They get high together.
There's no way you're going to convince me to smoke pot.
So they smoke weed and Doug gives Scott some painkillers. I thought that'd be a bigger moment in the movie. It's not. But when they go back to the motel, somehow during all of this, Scott hired a sex worker for Doug. And I'm not going to be able to really show much of this scene because I don't want to be flagged for boobies by YouTube. But I do want to talk about this one quick part where the sex worker, her name's Elation, you know, she's kind of like jumbling Doug's bits around. And there's this sound being heard, and I'm just like, what the hell is that sound? Then all of a sudden, she just like pulls out his urinary catheter bag. And I was like, oh, that's what that sound was. I thought she was taking off his pants when suddenly I hear Velcro being ripped. I just was not expecting that.
Kinky, baby.
So anyway, sex happens in multiple ways because also, while this is all happening, Scott and Stephanie hook up for some fucking reason. And I'm like, what? Scott, you're here to see somebody that you've had a long relationship with, and now you're hooking up with the girl you've only known for 2 days? The fuck? And it's awkward because Doug hears Stephanie and Scott going at it through the walls. So anyway, Doug's all upset the next day at breakfast because all he can think about is Stephanie and Scott doing the nasty together. So then Doug leaves in a big ol' huff, and Scott's like, what the fuck's wrong, man? And Doug's all like, fuck you!
I know what you're hiding. Why haven't I seen this friend? It's your dealer, isn't it?
Yeah, Doug. Drove 5 hours across state lines to buy a dime bag.
I mean, if we're being honest here, Doug, you're kind of Scott's dealer now. Who's the one who gave him the painkillers earlier? And then Stephanie's just over here eating breakfast the entire time. God, Stephanie, just fucking do something. Besides Scott. This spat causes Doug to go off to the casino on his own. And there's like this montage of him traveling throughout Las Vegas, interspersed with scenes of Scott looking at his phone. And also, for some reason, scenes of his mom. I don't care about the mom, alright? We don't need to check in on her. I mean, for God's sake, most of her conversations in the movie aren't even with a person. They're with an urn. I mean, honestly, I wonder what other conversations she's having with this urn that we're not seeing. Honey, do you think these pants make my butt look big? Be honest. Okay, bye now. Well, if you must know, your mother is still a bitch. Oh, honey, can you let the dog out, please? Honey, what's your worst fear? Mine's dying. We are all out of kitty litter. No, I shouldn't. If you don't start pulling your weight around here, well, guess what? You better get acquainted with the curb because you're gonna be out there with the trash. Do you ever wonder what happens to you after you die? I mean, not like you would know. So Doug goes and gets drunk at the casino, which is probably top of the list of the bad decisions that he's made in this movie so far, next to trust Scott and also care about Stephanie. And he just has this one gem of a line that I love when he talks to the dealer.
What, you never seen a drunk cripple gamble his Medicare away?
I mean, God, when you put it like that.
Sorry, buddy. Easy come, easy go.
That's my favorite character in the entire movie. Who is he? Who is this man? Somebody come and get your grandpa from the casino table. Goddamn. I love him. So Stephanie comes into the casino looking for Doug and finally finds him while he's drunk out of his fucking mind.
Where have you been all day?
I've been here and there and mostly here.
But Stephanie tells Doug that they need to leave. So they leave and go back to the motel. And when they get back there and see Scott is in the car smoking something, Stephanie, being her main characteristic that she leaves any important scene, leaves and goes to her room. Bye, Stephanie. I don't care about what your opinion about this scene is going to be. You can just go to your room. Goodbye. So then Doug rolls up to the van in order to confront Scott about what has been going on between the two of them.
Stephanie wanted me to talk to you.
Stay the fuck out of it, okay?
You want me to stay out of your life? Look who's talking, asshole. You go and you take away the one thing from me that I really wanted.
Oh, the only thing you wanted? What was that thing? Stephanie? Brother, not the best way to phrase that.
You're moving in on my personal life. I don't need this. I don't need you. I don't even know you.
Then get the fuck away from me.
So after that altercation, Scott speeds off in the van and, oh, look at that. Look who decides to come out of her little motel room after the scene's over. It's Stephanie!
What happened?
We got into a fight.
What did you guys fight about?
You!
Why would you fight about me?
You honestly don't know. First you sleep with my professor, then you sleep with my driver. Is there anyone you're not sleeping with other than me?
Fuck you, Doug. She doesn't owe you anything. And then before Stephanie is able to presumably tell him off, Doug goes and almost fucking dies. So no head. So Stephanie calls an ambulance in order to try and save Doug from dying, and they whisk him off to the hospital.
Everything's gonna be okay.
What's that?
What's that? That was the most nonchalant way to ask somebody what's up when they're dying. Oh, what's that? What'd you say? Oh, wait a minute, are you dying? Oh, that's super awkward. So they get Doug to the hospital. We see him taken into the emergency room. And after a little while, Stephanie is able to go check in on Doug and sees that he's doing fairly well.
Hi. He's out pretty cold right now.
Almost like he's dead. Look at your fucking face. Oh my god, I almost got you with that. So after checking in on Doug, Stephanie goes out to the parking lot and just happens to see that the van is there. So that must mean that Scott's there. So Stephanie goes back into the hospital to try and see if she can find Scott. And when she finally locates Scott, he's not in Doug's hospital room. He's in another guy's hospital room. Oh, what? So anyway, yes, this mysterious person that Scott has been texting this entire time, it wasn't a girl like I led you to believe. It was actually a guy. His name's Kevin. He dies. And this scene is just so awkward because they're just skating around the topic of being gay. And Stephanie is practically like, is he clutching her pearl necklace gay?
Is that your friend?
Yeah.
Is Kevin your... Are you,
Why are you gay?
So the next day, Doug is starting to feel a little bit better and is able to leave the hospital with Stephanie.
Doug, did you know that Scott was,
What?
I think Kevin is more than just a friend.
Oh.
They go searching for Scott, who isn't with Kevin because, you know, Kevin... He's dead, so he gets no lines in the movie. So they go looking for Scott, the only place they think they can look. The sign on the side of the road where him and Kevin stayed out an entire night at.
There he is, by the sign. Pull the van over.
Yeah, obviously she's gonna pull over, Doug. Calm down. So they pull over and Doug's about to go out and talk to Scott without Stephanie. Yes, even in this very intense scene where they're both looking for their friend, Stephanie just stays in the fucking car. She isn't even like, no, I want to talk to him too. She's just like, yeah, alright, cool. Whatever. Put up a fucking fight, Stephanie. God. So Doug goes over to Scott and tries to figure out what's wrong. What do you think is wrong, Doug? His boyfriend died.
I want to talk to you. I'm sorry about what I said.
It's nice to hear.
Oh my god, Ray William Johnson is crying. I'm gonna put that on the thumbnail. Ray William Johnson cries in movie you've never seen before? Emotional, real, sexy.
He wouldn't let me see him. He wouldn't let me see him because he didn't want to die with his family thinking he was a...
Oh god, fuck. Did you guys really have to say that? Well, maybe I should change the title of this video to Ray William Johnson says the F slur. Real emotional. So Doug is trying to reason with Scott in this big emotional moment, but Scott's not having it because, I mean, the guy that he came all the way out here to see dies. No wonder he's not listening to reason, and they're doing this on the side of the road with cars whizzing by. I mean, geez, I hope nothing happens. Oh my god! What the fuck? Maybe the title of this video should be Ray William Johnson dead for real? Gone sexual? Oh my god. Hey man, I'm just trying to get those views. So Stephanie finally leaves the car and comes running over while Doug is trying to see if he can help Scott in any way possible. And we just see his bloody body on the ground, and then it fades to black, and then we're at the hospital and we're seeing him. Wait, are we not going to the hospital? What happens to Scott? Hello? Are they just moving on from that? You guys killed Ray William Johnson in a movie? And you expect me to move on from that? What? What the fuck do they do with Scott's body? That's never explained, guys. It's never explained. What? This shit's stupid. But hey, at least he did a flip though. Woo! And we go back to Doug writing his stupid fucking essay. Remember that from the beginning? Oh, talk about a time you experienced personal change? Oh yeah, my friend died. And I did jack shit about it. Like, the next scenes are him typing up his essay, and then there's a scene where he talks to his mom about keeping his dead dad's ashes. And he's just like, maybe we need to let him go. We can take him to the beach and toss his ashes into the sea. The two of them then go to the beach, and it's supposed to be this nice somber scene of a mom and son together. But then when the mom dumps the dad's ashes out, a gust of wind like blows the ashes back into their faces, and I'm just like, was that supposed to happen? And like, you can see the actors like cracking up. Like, I think this was supposed to be a blooper, but it was the only take they had because they didn't have anything else in the urn to dump out.
Bye, Dad.
But then the movie ends with Doug giving his final presentation in front of the class, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, but like, also you watched your friend die.
My best friend once told me that I liked being treated special, and he was right.
Remember, I said that line was important earlier. Look at that, it came back. But also in this moment, he refers to Scott as his best friend. I don't think you guys were best friends. I mean, did you see that final argument you two had? It ended with one of you dying.
He drove me to be better.
Oh my god, he said the thing. Who was driving Doug? Ray William Johnson was. Literally and figuratively.
And I refuse to wander quiet and desperate in the desert. Thank you.
Oh, what? Nobody clapped for Doug's presentation? And Obama wasn't even there? Ugh, what was even the point? So that was Who's Driving Doug. Was it good? Look, I'll admit there's some good moments in this movie. RJ and Ray, they both have some pretty good chemistry together. They have some good moments in there. And it showed off RJ's acting prowess, which we all kind of knew about because he was in Breaking Bad, one of the best shows of all time. But also it shows that Ray can actually act, even though we all know him mostly from his comedy and YouTube videos. He's come a long way from Equals 3. But on the other hand, there are a lot of unnecessary parts in this movie. Specifically, Stephanie, like, they did Paloma Kwiatkowski dirty. They really did not give her much to work with in this movie. But I am glad I finally got to watch this movie because it has been on my mind ever since I first heard about it. And I finally get to check this movie off my list. So Ray, if you ever see this, good job. You did good. And I hope getting hit by a car didn't hurt too much. But now it's time for the comment question of the day, which comes from a friend of mine. And they ask,
"Hi Alec, big fan. This message goes to my favorite YouTube creator, Alec Combs. My comment question is, what was your favorite YouTube channel back in the day? What is it? Gotta know.
So, what was your favorite YouTube channel back in the day? Leave your interesting or creative responses in the comments section below. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it if you did. You'll expect to see more videos like this where I talk about things from my childhood that I think are interesting or weird or just not talked about as much. And also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like as well. You can follow me on social media. I'm at Alec Combs on both Instagram and Twitter. And also make sure to check out my podcast, Screenplay of the Improvised Movie. You can find it on YouTube as a video video podcast, or you can listen to the audio podcast on any podcast streaming service that you use. But thanks for watching my video about Who's Driving Doug. I'm Alec Combs, and I approve this message. And I'm going to leave you with some moments from this video that I couldn't put anywhere else in the video. Bye-bye. Okay, so this is probably the best place I can put this, is at the end of the video. So it's May 14th right now, 1 week before this video comes out. I'm still editing, and I go to Your Favorite Martian's YouTube channel, and look at this. What the fuck? June 1st? What? They're coming back? Like a week after I put out my video? What the fuck?